Don't worry about it. I forgot you're going to be up there. Yeah. But you still responsible. Do you remember how to use the iPhone? Because I don't want no problem. And you're going to turn the music on too, right? Yep. Okay. When I put him up and I'll get to the podium, you were turning it down. Okay. Like not all.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you put your hands together for yourselves tonight for being here, for showing up, for coming with the spirit of excitement? We are so glad that you are here tonight. We thought that it would be fitting to open up with an invocation. So at this time, time, put your hands together for Pastor Larry B. Aiken.
Can you bow your heads, please? Father, we come tonight in great expectation. Our necks are stuck out for the possibility of what can happen. We're united together. Our hearts are knitted, and we come to receive marching orders. Thank you for a room full of champions and generals ready to make a difference now and in the future. We are so excited. We are so grateful. Let this time of impartation not miss us. Help us to grab the essence of why we are here. So today, God, we salute every man, every young man, every young boy that's in this place. For we've been chosen, not just to change the atmosphere, but to make a difference. So we thank you for the privilege of being here. We're the chosen generation, the ones who will make it happen. And we'll be careful when this night is over to go home and reflect on all that has been said and all that has been imparted. And we promise to rise up and be a part of the change. We thank you in advance, and we will forever give your name praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Come on, put your hands together one more time. We are so excited that you are here tonight. Can I do it like I know how to do it? I'll take this mic off the stand for just a moment. Good evening to each and every one of you who are here tonight. My name is Sharina Clinton, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as coordinator of mentoring services with Kansas City Public Schools. And we are so excited that you all made the choice to be with us here tonight for a conversation with Congressman Cleaver. The call to action for African American and Latino males mentors is an important one, not only for our city, but for our communities. We know that many of the disadvantages that our students of color experience are largely based on their socioeconomic status and the ecosystem in which they live. But I know that there are people in this room tonight who have the power and the passion to make a tremendous difference in their life. You're sitting here tonight because you have that purpose in you. And so before this evening concludes, you'll learn about the mentoring gap that exists, the need for positive role models in the lives of our students, and what you can do tonight to take action. And so on behalf of Kansas City Public Schools, I extend a warm greeting to you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. At this time, I would like to call up our introduction or our host for the evening. We have Officer Octavio Villalobos, who is a 19-year veteran of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. He has spent his last 12 years on the Central Patrol Impact Squad doing community policing at the West Side CAN Center. He is a graduate of the Kansas City, Missouri School District, a U.S. Army veteran. Officer Chato was also one of the 2017 recipients of the Consensus Civility Award for his contributions to building bridges in Kansas City communities. Would you put your hands together for our host for the evening one more time, Officer Octavio Villalobos.
Thank you. First of all, Reverend Aiken, man, you touched me. All right. I got allergies. You guys had me going out seeing saw a cop cry today. So. But no, this is real talk. First of all, I honor and respect every single person in this room for showing up, answering the call. You know, I got a couple of minutes just to say a little thing of why I came to this program. I was 15 years old, a sophomore at Westport High School when I lost my best friend to a violent crime. I had given up. I was a young man with talent. I was a young man on the way to go somewhere in my life, and it just took the air out of me. At that age, we all had Boys and Girls Club, we all had a Wallaby Center. There's a lot of men I see in the crowd that I recognize from 25 years ago that served in YouthNet. And I remember you guys showing up for those kids back then and bringing me into this culture of giving back. And thank you for being here still. I'm going to read tonight. I get to introduce these amazing speakers and these people who are going to talk to us about the program. And I've been reading through their bios. And let me tell you something. If you came down here because you already made up your mind that you're going to show up and participate, you're going to see what kind of leadership we have and the people and what they've been doing with their lives and their profession. Gilbert Guerrero was a man at Guadalupe Center who took me off the street and said, not this time, not you, not now. He said, when I grow my garden, I plant the seed and I put it in this little dish. And I take it down into the basement and I let the fan hit it and I put some light on it. And what that fan does is it creates a little disturbance. It creates, a little challenge. So as that plant starts to grow, the roots are forced to hang on tighter, so they get stronger. And the bigger that plant gets from getting all that adversity on it, it has to grow, the stem has to be stronger, and the leaves grow strong. So by the time he takes it out of his basement, puts it into his garden, no wind, no rain, no cloud, no nothing could stop that thing from blooming because it has strong roots. The kids in our district, in this Kansas City, Missouri School District, they face adversity, but they're strong and they're resilient and they have a lot of talent. And what you guys have decided by being here today is to show up for them, and I thank you. I get to introduce the man, I'm sorry.
We're going to have greetings for the MCC.
Yeah, we want to bring them up to the stage. First of all, they're hosting us through a partnership in this program. Dr. Tayana Lee. Everybody, let's give her a round of applause.
Good evening, Kings.
Good evening.
Good evening, Kings and Queens.
Good evening.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. So welcome to Metropolitan Community College, the Penn Valley campus, and I'm not going to sit up for too long because we're going to have a great conversation about how we're going to change the lives of the young men in this area. So as a person who raised a young man in Athens, Ohio, I know it's important for us to have such conversations and to have programs. Here at MCC Penn Valley, we changed the name from Men of Color to Men of Courage. Say the rest, Eric. Character and culture. Right, and that is our Dean of Students, and then we have our advisor as well, Mr. Clarence Smith. So I'm going to turn it over now to our 8th Chancellor, the phenomenal, illustrious Dr. Kimberly Bailey.
Thank you for that greeting, Dr. Bailey. It's good to be here with all of you this evening and good to see you. I can't come to these events and have the microphone and not say a couple of things, so I'm just going to take a few minutes to visit with you about something. Mentors are really important, and I'm so pleased, and I want to congratulate you, Dr. Bedell, on having the courage and the leadership to develop, and I'm not sure when this started, but to see this from a year ago, okay. So to develop and implement a program like this. Mentors are extremely important and play an amazing role. Recently, there was a ceremony held for me, and I was blessed to have my mentor who was able to come and say a few words. And I can say without a doubt that I would not be standing here today as a black girl who was poor and raised by a single parent, because it happens with girls too, who don't have their fathers, end up looking for people like their fathers. I could go on. But it could have happened, I could have been a statistic as well. Mentoring changes lives. So you are in an awesome opportunity, and I hope that you continue to take advantage of that. This is a strong start for you. To be in a mentoring relationship like this is a strong start. But what I want to help you to do is have an even stronger finish. I would be remiss as the chancellor of this fabulous institution if I didn't tell you that this program aligns directly with our mission. We create opportunities, we serve our communities, and we prepare students. We have over 130 programs in a lot of our workforce areas, whether you want to transfer, whether you want to get retrained, or you want to get an associate's degree. And John, who's in the back there, is going to be out there with a table of information as you leave for those of you who are college ready, those of you who are mentors who want to be retrained and get a new trade or take some additional classes. I was talking to your supervisor of food services, Miss Georgia Brown out there, and she said she was going to come back to school. I said, when you come back, I said, I'm not going to forget your name, because that's Georgia Brown, so I'm not going to forget her name. And you know what, the restaurant, right? So this program aligns with our mission. You've got a strong start, and I want to encourage you to keep on that path and have a strong finish, continue on that pathway. I just recently had a retreat with my board and where I do an overview of the data. I've been in a lot of institutions all through this country, and the narrative is the same. African American males and men of color are at the bottom of every KPI that matters. When it comes to admission, in terms of enrollment, success, retention, and completion, they're at the bottom of every category, every one of those categories. When you disaggregate that out further, which we have done with our data, Hispanic males are making progress. In fact, they're outpacing our African American males. Now that is a drop the microphone moment, those data points that I just gave to you. My charge to you is that you can change that. You can leave this room, you can continue in this mentoring relationship, you can go out here and get an application or go to UMKC or wherever it is. But I can tell you the only reason that I'm standing here today, in addition to that mentoring relationship that I had, is because my mother went to college. College changes lives. It changes the trajectory of generations and where they're going to go. So I think this is an awesome program. Kudos to you, Dr. Bedell. But I want you all to continue these relationships and get a great college experience. And I hope that I see some of you here at MCC. Thank you, and have a great program.
Thank you so much. I get to introduce Dr. Bedell. I'm going to read his bio, and it's going to really testify to his commitment to our children in our district. The Kansas City, Missouri School Superintendent, Dr. Mark Bedell, is one of the top urban public school leaders in the United States. As a child of a working-class family in upstate New York, he overcame significant challenges and was inspired to take his education seriously by teachers and other caring adults who pushed him to achieve his dreams. Since coming to KCPS, Dr. Bedell has forged innovative partnerships with Sprint and the Consulate of Mexico on behalf of the students and families. Dr. Bedell has developed a mentorship program to match caring adults with about 8,000 deserted students within the next 5 years. In partnership with the Metropolitan Community College and the Full Employment Council of Greater Kansas City, he led the effort to launch a middle college program to give 17 to 20-year-olds who never finished school an opportunity to earn a high school diploma and enter college. Dr. Bedell has received many recognitions, including being named a superintendent to watch by the National School Public Relations Association and a new superintendent of the year by the Missouri Association of School Administration. Dr. Bedell and his family have made Kansas City their home, with his wife active as an attorney in the community and their 3 children attending KCPS schools. Can't think of a more committed, dedicated man to start this program. We thank you, Dr. Bedell.
I know you're chomping at the bit. Did you want to run your video before I offer my remarks? So I see you back there. So let's go ahead and run the video real quick, and then I'll offer my people.
All right, thank you, Doctor. All right. come back to it. Okay, our apologies. We had to turn it back over to you.
All right, so we do apologize for the technical difficulties. We wanted to show you a video, and some of you may have had an opportunity to view the video on Channel 41, which talked about the work that some of our community members are doing right now to help support this school district. As you all heard a little bit about my bio, and I don't generally talk about my life story anymore, but I'm no different than the young men that I'm responsible for leading in this city. My story parallels many of what these students are living through right now. I look through this room, I think about all of the men of color in here tonight that are here because you genuinely care and you want to make a difference. And I remember hearing Congressman Cleaver say in the room a few minutes ago that his dad is still alive. And he had an opportunity to get some words of wisdom from his dad last night. And I sat there and I leaned over and I said to our officer here, man, that must be a nice feeling. You know, I've never had an opportunity to do that with my biological dad. He's still alive, and I don't even know, I never met the man. And so I know what a lot of our young men are living through. I know how hard it is to navigate this world. And I want you all to know that I'm fully committed to doing everything in my power to help these kids get some form of stability, some form of accountability, because here's, believe it or not, they actually want accountability. They do, but they want it from people that they believe in, people that care, people that don't have a problem holding them accountable because they want to make sure that they're successful. That's people that's sitting here in this room today. That's what you all can do. And so what I'm asking you all to do as we get through this today, listening to Congressman Cleaver, I want you all to really think long and hard around what can you do to help this school district get back on its feet. I have educators in here. I see a bunch of folks in here that work in the district. Just stand up real quick so you can see the folks who work in the school district in here that don't have to be here tonight. They're taking out their time to be here. Thank you all. Thank you all. And in some cases, I'm looking back here at a young man that works in our school district. He's the only African-American male adult teacher that works on the staff, teacher or support staff that's on your campus at Faxton. Is that correct? Right. And so we know that our kids need to see more Black and Latino men in positions of influence, in positions of power. And they don't see that too often. So we have an opportunity now to serve as adult advocates to do our part to pay it forward. I mentored the last 13 out of 14 years. I mentored a young man at Central last year. He dropped out of school. Had to fight to get him back in. He enrolled into this campus upon graduating so he could pursue his education. But it wasn't easy. And what I'm telling you all is that this isn't going to be easy. I'm not asking you all to do something that you're not going to be able to be fully committed to. If you can't be fully committed, the worst thing you can do is get these kids excited. They start lowering their guards, and they start sharing things with you, and you're like, oh, hell, I didn't sign up for that. And then you leave them. And you leave them off worse than they were before you ever touched them. So we need people that are going to be sincere about how can I get into this young man's life and be a value add to him. And if we can do that, folks, here's what I can promise you. I believe I have put together a staff of this school district that can take this school district from the valley of despair to full accreditation. But here's what I can't tell you. I can tell you this. There's no way we can get it to full accreditation if I don't get help for these young men of color that's in our school district. They are the ones that are reading at or below, they're reading below grade level in most areas to the tune of 80%. They're below 82% in math, I have some schools where our proficiency rates are sitting at 19%, 23%. And if we don't help these kids and give them some hope, because part of it is just you don't have hope. It's not that you don't have the intellectual ability. You've been beat down so much with all of the trauma and the social distress that you show up with. And in some cases, we as educators don't know how to handle that. So then we become punitive. And then when we become punitive, they get suspended. And then when they get suspended, they're out in the streets. They lose instructional minutes because we only have 180 days with them. And then before you know it, they're chronically absent. And now they're getting involved in the juvenile system. And then ultimately it turns into what we're seeing every other day on the news, shootings. And I'm sitting here saying to my wife, there's probably another black male or Latino male. And that's often what we see, because they're hopeless. And I didn't come here, I'm very competitive. Those of you who play ball with me know I'm competitive. I will tear a fifth grader up. I don't show mercy. I don't. You beat me, you really legitimately beat me. Isn't that right, people who played us in kickball this Saturday? So, my point is, I didn't come here to lose. I didn't come here to lose. I didn't come here to repeat the cycle of people getting folks all excited, and then I realized, man, this is impossible, let me leave. What's going to keep me around is if you all step up and help. If you all help, we can flip this district around, we can turn this city into something special. And I'll close with this part here. I'm looking at our incident rates. I asked my discipline officer to give me, weapons that's come into our school system. 2015-16, we had 51. Last year, we're talking about weapons. We had 6 that were reported. Over the past 4 years, 125 incidents, right? We've had knives, 17, down to 1. I don't know if that's right. I felt like I seen some plastic knives that we confiscated too. But we've had kids come into school, and most of these gun situations aren't real guns. They're BBs. They're BB guns. Little kids who are playing with BB guns in their neighborhood, and they're not bringing them in to shoot anybody. They're forgetting that they have them in their backpack. But then they have to go through a hearing. They have to come to me. And I have to make a decision, and I don't ever kick a kid out of school over a BB gun, especially if we know the administrators are saying there was no intent. They left it in their backpack. But if they're having exposure to this as little elementary kids, those eventually turn into real weapons later on. Right? So we got to get ahead of this now. We got to get our young men, and we got to give them the advocacy that they need so that we're not a part of this school-to-prison pipeline. That's where we need your help. And so I want to say this. Our district has made significant progress over the last several years. The only thing I have right now are government scores. They're raw, so they haven't been cleaned. It's the only test that they haven't changed. I can tell you, we're gonna go from 34% proficiency rate to over 40%. We're gonna have a 6% jump. We haven't had 6% jumps in anything in this district. Right? So that tells me that what we're doing to the best of our power inside of our 4 walls is actually working, but it's not enough. So I'm waiting to see what happens with our math scores and our reading scores, because that's a new assessment, and the state is working on it now. But I know that what we've done to get this system in position to become a fully accredited school system, our last piece is we gotta have the community embrace us. And if the community comes and wraps its arms around us, watch out, folks. Kansas City will be a different place. And I want everybody to understand this. What you do now, you may not see the fruits of your labor, but you plant seeds now, and we can look back in 15 years and say, we were the ones that got it to where it is now. So that's why we need you. Thank you.
Up next, I get to introduce the gentleman who's in charge, been tasked out by Dr. Bedell to run this program. And when you heard Dr. Bedell say that he doesn't like to lose, I believe him, because I got to eat lunch with the man, with Dr. Darrell Davis. Dr. Darrell Davis has nearly 23 years of experience in the Kansas City Public Schools as a teacher, principal, and district leader. He now serves as Assistant Superintendent of Innovation and Special Projects, with duties that include the development and supervision of the district's mentoring initiative, as well as coordinating all programs geared toward improving outcomes for boys and young men of color. He's been doing this his whole life, so he's going to be talking to you. Those of you guys that think about doing this, we're in good hands.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Again, thank you for just coming out and being a part of this effort. My role this evening is really to facilitate a conversation at your table. And so at this time, we're going to give you an opportunity, if you haven't already done so, to introduce yourselves to the others at your table. Feel free to give your name, where you work, kind of what interested you in this. And if you have, we may have some college students here, go ahead and share what college you go to. We'll give you a few minutes to do that, and then we have some other conversation that we're going to take you through. All right.
I just opened up problems downtown. Since 2016, I've been able I'll be back this week
I'm going to give you about 90 more seconds to finish up your introductions, and we're going to come back with some further instructions. We'll give you about 20 seconds to finish your thought. At this time, I'd like to bring your attention back to the front. We want to just share some information about our young men in our school system. These are the realities that we face on a daily basis. Some of you are familiar with the district's mobility rate. It's at 40%. What that means is that a teacher can start the school year with 28 students in their classroom, his or her classroom, but before the end of the quarter, 40% of those students could have moved on to another school. That rotation, that constant in and out revolving door makes an impact. It's difficult for many of the school personnel to build that relationship, to really understand what's going on in the lives of our youth. So when we look at the mobility rate coupled with the homeless rate, the number of our boys who are growing up without male role models. There are a number of boys who have fathers who have lost their lives to gun violence, others whose fathers may be incarcerated, others simply state they have never met their father. We need the men in this room to stand in the gap. And we don't want to sugarcoat. The reality is that when you become a mentor, when you step into that role and you make that commitment to mentor a student each week, you may get a student who has seen violence, a student who has gone through trauma. There were some young men just a couple weeks ago, they shared their stories. 2 of them said they were homeless. Not homeless like, you know, my mother doesn't have a place, so we stay with my grandmother. No, homeless like living on the street in boxes. And so when you mentor someone, they bring everything that their life experience with them. And so at this time, we just want you to have a conversation about what are some other challenges that you believe young people face in 2018 that we may not have faced when we were growing up. What are these new realities, whether it's access to guns or whatever the case may be. But we want to have that dialogue at the tables, but then also we want you to discuss what are the benefits for having men of color, Black and Latino men, to come in, and what's the strength that you bring to the mentoring relationship, to have that critical conversation. Why is this event even necessary? Because we know that, in fact, I was speaking with Principal Robert Lee earlier, just coincidentally, about students in this building, they want a man to tell their story to. Sometimes they don't believe that someone else, a female, will understand this particular situation. You know, that 3 boys want to get me after school. You know, they want to talk to a man. Help me think through this situation. Help me brainstorm. So we're going to give you the next 10 minutes to just have this dialogue, and then we want to have at least a few of you share out some of the benefits to males of color being a part of this conversation and getting into our schools as mentors, and then also just continue to brainstorm some of the challenges that our young boys and men of color uniquely face in this day and age.
I guess I'll start. I think today starts not only at home, it starts in the streets. Well, of course it starts in the streets, it starts in the home. A lot of what I see parents are doing, they're just confronting every situation, which turns into a snowball. I see parents giving up their kids because they just let them get away with the murder in all means. Parents aren't the parents of people. I will say that I did. You have a problem. You know why? So I'm comparing, you know, how I was raised to I see how parents are trying to today. And I think that leash has gotten longer and longer and longer to where their kids feel like they're invincible, to where they can do anything. Not only in their neighborhoods, but in their classrooms, and that reflects on the community. Just the other day, I held open the door that I was always toxic. You know, never once did it cause my nuts. I held the door open for the lady. She's like, oh wow, you must have been raised. I've been raised well. If I didn't, you know, I'd get, you know, slapped. You know, you gotta be scared here. You know, a lot of kids are. So that's where I think it's wrong in a point of what's wrong with Texas. 16, my father said, in a car, happy birthday, basically, I was about the horse. Time for you to be responsible.
We're going to give you about 90 seconds
That
to
being said,
finish your comments, and we're going to ask for a couple of you to share out.
sometimes your kids have their own mistakes, and then they treat them as it strikes me.
Okay, as we wrap up, do we have just 2 volunteers that can just make your way this way to report out something that resonated with you, that was discussed at your table? Do we have a couple? We have one. Anyone else? Yes, sir, come on up.
My name is Lamar Pickers, and at our table, one of the biggest things that we discussed was love. The students that they're speaking of, in the situations that they're in, one of the biggest things they're lacking in their lives is, I love you, I believe in you, I know that you can do this. We just talked about an incident where we as an organization in KCOG, we had a young boy, and just the mere thought that Big Mike told him, I love you, I believe in you, and you're gonna be something. And the next incident that we heard from that boy was he was in a mentor program. And they said, what happened? It wasn't mysterious, it wasn't mystical, just the act of love. So everybody in this room understand that's our challenge, that's why we're here, that's what we have to project in order to be impactful in their lives.
How y'all doing? My name is James Anderson. I work for City here. My brother's over here. But my table, we talked about social media. Everything is on social media. Everything is like people feel like they have a voice on social media. And it's like we talked about, they can be this soft person at school, but when they get behind the internet, they're the hardest person ever. They'll post guns, they'll make videos of weed and stuff like that. And it's like, they wonder why cops know why they sell weed, why they got guns. It's like you snitching on yourself. And snitching was a big thing to everybody, but you snitching on yourself, so how that work? So another thing we talked about was young parents. A lot of these kids is like 15. I go to Central, I see like 10 kids pregnant already, and they like 15, 16, talking about sex. And that's why I be thinking, like, what do your parents think about this? And I realize a lot of parents don't care. And it's like, I seen kids FaceTime their parents in class, having a full conversation with them, not asking what your grades like, what's this, what's that. They like, girl, what you doing with the blue? I'm just like, I would get slapped for that. So, I mean, and another thing we talked to also was about, it's like they said, love. A lot of black males and stuff, we don't know our fathers. So it's like we rely on other people in the streets. We rely on gangs to have our back. We be scared because it's like, dang, who got us? Nobody really got us. So it's just like, yeah, we got grandmothers and stuff, they raised us in the church, or we got mothers that raised us in the church and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we can only do so much, because it's like, the world don't want us to succeed. The white man always put us down. So it's like, when they do that, who gonna break us up? And it's like, who do we rely on? It's like, you can't rely on music. All the music is about sex, money, drugs, having sex, and all that other stuff, and it's just like, I see a lot of kids always talking about drugs and stuff like this. And I ask them every day, what's your next plan after school? I don't know, I'm thinking about college. Why you gotta think about it? It's like, it's easy. And I be telling them like, y'all say y'all love money, but y'all don't understand. When you go to college, that's so much money. And it's like, since you in the Kansas City Public School, that's free college. You don't have to pay for nothing. And I'm telling them like, you get refund check, that's $5,000 come back in your pocket. You get extra money. And I told one kid, he was like, I do want to make clothes. You know how many people make clothes in college? That's like a lot of money. You want to be a barber, go to one of them small white schools and stuff where there's a whole bunch of kids and just cut all the hair. That's like, you gonna get 1,000. So it's just like, I be trying to educate because nobody told me this when I was in college. And it's just like, that's just what it is. So I mean, that's what we're talking about.
I stand with you.
All right, thank you, everyone. So the need is clear, the evidence is clear that our young men need mentors, they need role models, they need all of us in here to invest in their future success and show them the right way and expose them to new opportunities. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to our host, Officer Villalobos.
The next gentleman we're going to invite up, I endearly said needs no introduction. I said that because I love the man. But back on my block, we call him Mr. Emanuel because he's come through and he's showed up for my neighborhood over many years, and we all know him to come through for our families and our young men. Can we please give a welcome to the Congressman Emanuel Cleaver?
Vision and it's a vision of our community, and Dr. Bedell. And he's an old man, that's what he probably like, but you know, in days gone by, we used to have superintendents of schools. There one of them in Kansas City, Kansas, who was like the superintendent, I can't remember his name now, about 50 years. And of the Kansas City, Kansas School District. And then there was a time we used to have long-standing superintendents. They had turned the school districts into citadels of learning, and everybody respected them. And I've been around this community when we were having 3 superintendents a month. And I gotta tell you that, yeah, it was a little joke, not much. Some of you remember, I can remember at one point we like had 28 superintendents over a 5-year period. And I finally, after all these years, we finally get someone in our community who has vision, who can relate to the students, whose children go to the school, to the schools in the district. It makes me happy and proud that he is here. And I am thankful for you being here. The thing is, I know probably half the people in here. And so you would expect, I mean, this is the people that you, Brother Williams, he would be here. I mean, you know, Reverend Akins, I look around this room and these are people, you know, somebody comes up that's important to the community, they show up. And a lot of others of you. And I'm glad because this is a serious issue. And if you just think about it, right now, there are 250 students in elementary schools on the waiting list for a mentor. They've signed up. They want somebody. Right now, 250 students in elementary school and 200 in secondary schools who signed up saying, I need somebody. I need somebody to step into my life. I need somebody to help me. And if you help those kids, you're doing a major piece of work. 55% of those students who receive mentors will go to college. 55%. 52% of students with a mentor won't skip school. 78% of students who have mentors will become volunteers themselves in something, because they learn how to do it from mentors. Look, let me just, I'll be brief. Let me just tell you. I didn't live in a house with indoor plumbing until I was 7. I have a picture of my house hanging on my wall in my congressional office in Kansas City and in Washington, D.C. You walk in my office, you see the shack hanging on the wall. My mother, my father, 3 sisters, and we lived in a 2-room shack until we were able to move into public housing. We moved into public housing, but I need to just let you know that, you know, we lived in public housing, but my mother and father would not allow public housing to live in me. And so, we were ever there, everything that you believe happens in public housing, I was right there, I saw it all. And, but my daddy, most of the kids didn't have a father living in the house. You know, my father, son, when the sun goes down, you must be around. And my father was very serious, and he, you know, he had, I mean, he got me, it's in my head. He said, son, if you ever raise your voice at me, he said, you know, I'll take care of it. He said, but now if you raise your voice at your mother, he said, I'm going to shoot you. Now, he said, understand, I'm not going to kill you, I'm going to shoot you in the leg. But he said, we don't play that. We don't play it. You know, I look at these movies, my sisters and I, when we were growing up, we didn't get a TV set until I was 12. And so we looking at Father Knows Best, most of y'all don't even remember that. But, you know, it's about the All-American Family. And the little girl would get mad at her father, Kitty, I think it was her name, and she'd run to her room and close the door. The first time we saw that, my 3 sisters and I got up and went to bed. We thought, we don't even want our dad to know that we saw it. You know, we didn't want him to even think that we thought about it. So we went to bed. Now, you know, we eventually, my daddy worked 3 jobs. 3. We saw our father on Sunday. I should have started talking about that. We saw our fathers on Sunday. That's about the only day we could see him. The rest of them, we could see him, but he was asleep. You know, between going to work. And my father ended up being the major mentor for me. Sent my mother to school when I was in the 7th grade to college. He was and still is a great mentor to me. But I want to go back to show you how powerful a mentor is. My mother's father, standing on the front porch, fell dead at the age of 35, massive heart attack. And because we didn't know anything, so my mother, at age 63, did the same thing. But when I never saw my mother's father, my grandfather, obviously she was 12 when he died. And so my grandmother remarried, married a guy named Louis Alexander. We call him Louis. Louis was smart, he worked on the railroad, and if he had been born 100 years later, he would have been a scientist or could do anything he wanted, just brilliant. I didn't realize at the time. One night, Louis and I standing on the front porch of this shack, the shack. I can remember like it happened last night. And Louis used to try to teach me things. And so he said, you know, the milk you drink over to your grandmother, my paternal grandmother, my father's mother, she had cows, and said, you know, they pasteurize And he said, they can't remove all the bacteria from the milk. He said, but you know, it's enough to keep you safe, it's healthy. I haven't had a glass of milk since that night. In the name of Jesus. Not one glass since that night. I hope you understand the point. I mean, you know, I'm about 6 years old. He tells me something, it registers, and today I still cannot drink milk. And he wasn't trying to keep me from drinking milk. He was trying to give me information, trying to help me learn about the pasteurization of milk. So the point is that people can touch children. We can touch the minds of children and impact them for life in a positive direction. I experienced that myself, so I know how powerful it is. You know, I have twin boys. When they came along, you know, my wife, you gotta drink milk. You gotta drink milk. And I wouldn't say everything. Because there's a word real big called hypocrisy. And so I thought, you know, let me not do that. Let me just leave that to her. Now, let me go back to public housing. You can't live over there. We had the Thompson grocery store. This is right outside of Dallas, downtown Dallas. Thompson's grocery store. When we live in public housing, you got to go. You know, they send you to the store, and some of the boys would get on the corner. They charge 15 cents. 15 cents to go to the store. They would let you buy to go to the store. Entrance to the store, after your mother and father gave you money to go, you have to get paid 15 cents. And, you know, we didn't have any money. My mother was going to school and trying to do work on the side. My father working 3 jobs. And so it became really clear. I had to learn how to fight and fight and fight, and did. So that I could go to the store, nobody would say anything, and they'd say he was crazy. And I guess one of the points of awakening, Chauncey Bogan, hiding around the corner, we got a thing going, throws and hits me in the mouth with a brick. If you come closer, you can see the stitches. You still see the stitches from that hit. I'm in the hospital, and my father comes over and he says, you know, just a few more inches up, you would have lost an eye. You know, and he said, you know, you walk around here being tough. And he said a lot of tough people are in the cemetery. And he said, you know, we don't have tough people anymore. So they used to have them, but they're all gone. And that was powerful. But the most powerful was at the end of my junior year in May, before the last day of school, the football team it's a tradition to have a meeting, and they vote for the captains for the next year, seniors, who's going to be the captain. My teammates voted for me and Willie Taylor, Big Will, to be the captains for the next year. The coaches were sitting there in the locker room when the vote took place. I was elected, Big Will elected, and Coach Irving Garnett lives in Fort Worth, Texas, right now, still alive. I still talk to him on the phone. He said, Cleaver, come in. We're going to go in the back room. So we go to his office, and he said, we're not going to call the vote out here until you and I meet and have this talk. And I said, what are you talking about, Coach? And he said, you need to understand, I know where you're coming from. And if you get into one fight on the field, you're no longer my captain. And he said, if you agree to that, you tell me right now. And I said, yeah, Coach, I know I'm getting a fight. So he goes back out and he says, congratulations, you just elected Emanuel Cleaver II spoke at a banquet in Fort Worth, Texas, 2-3 years ago, and I was at the podium, I looked out, and there is Coach Irvin Garnett sitting at the table. And I started my speech out by telling the story I just told, which he obviously had played an impact in my life. And I still talk to him, still call him Coach. You know, he'll see me on TV, and he'll say, "Look, you can't, you know, you were looking mean, so you can't look like that." You know, I know what those people will do to you. And he said, "But you can't do this. Don't let them get you to look at me." So I mean, now this is my daddy, Louis Irvin Garnett, Coach Irvin Garnett, and he's telling me this at all times. You know, don't let them make you start looking mad or angry. And so I know that mentoring works because I am convinced that I wouldn't be here had it not worked. I wasn't headed in the right direction. Person Cleveland and I walking down the street, person says, "Let's take this guy's watch." He was an airman. We go over, person says, "Give us a watch." Or blank. Guy pulls out a gun. I'm stunned and can't run, purse is gone. He claims, he said, "You better not shoot him, I'm gonna come back for you." You know, I'm still there. You know, I was probably 17 at the time. You know, thinking, yeah, I'm getting ready to die for a watch. And so the guy was an airman, and so he, on the gunman, marches me into the USO, and you know, so they called my father to come down to the USO, and my father said, "Look, I'll get you out of jail if you have a fight. I won't get you out of jail if you're scared. But I'll get you out if you have a fight. But every time I get you out of jail, I'll know that you are one day closer to getting killed." It's like he said it to me a while ago. I can still hear it. What somebody says to you when your mind is like a potter's clay, it's significant. It can shape you, mold you into who you are. Martin Luther King said, "Life's most urgent question is what you're doing for others." Now that's matters past that. That's life's most urgent question. And so I think our generation can leave some kind of a path to our children. And having a minute, this is, you can't see how powerful this is. I mean, I can see this, like, you know, this is a heart palpitation moment for me to see black and brown men here, because our boys are at stake. They are at stake, and we can save one life and another life and another life. Let me close by just telling you this. I got a little mad and it's me, it's not that false. I'm just but so I got a little mad. I'm listening to some local politicians are reading in the newspaper about them at a forum, and these people running for office, and so they were asked a question. So, what are you going to do to stop crime? And they said, well, we need more police officers. We got to hire more police officers. And somebody else said, well, I think what we got to do is maybe create neighborhoods where we have more little police substations in neighborhoods. And I'm listening to all of them talking about that. So, well, we need to control the police department, you know, in Kansas City instead of Jefferson City. I mean, these are good people. The Lord loves them, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at any of them. Ladies and gentlemen, that is stupid. Absolutely stupid. Police arrest people after the crime. Now, I would like to say to them, you want to stop some of the murders? Why don't you become a mentor for a little boy who's in trouble? You can stop a murder. That little boy. You can save somebody. I mean, that's powerful. And I'm through. I don't, anybody here know Elbert Anderson? Okay, I went to college with his wife. Cheryl McIntyre, that's her name. She was the cutest girl in school. Cheryl was Miss, black girls, no matter how cute they were, they're never gonna be Miss Texas Queen team. She won. And so Cheryl, one year, I don't know how she pulled it off, but she got Muhammad Ali to come to Prairie View A&M University, where I attended. And so, and the reason she got him, he was supposed to be fighting a guy named Cleveland Williams in Houston, which is right down the street from where we were. So, we all, we're in the studio, and all of a sudden we look up, Muhammad Ali walks in the door, and there are about 17 people with him, you know. And he comes over and he snatches a piece of chicken off the plate or something, somebody, you know, and Ali takes a bite of the chicken, throws it down, and you, who's mad at me? So, you know, no, we're not, nobody's mad, champ. And then because now the people bragging about, I'm the one who eat chicken he took. But anyway, so Ali said, y'all gonna look at the fight? Yeah, we're gonna look at the fight. And he said, all right, you can't miss anything. He said, I'm getting real upset with Cleveland Williams. And I said, champ, what did he do? He said, well, he said he was gonna win. I said, that upset you? He said, yeah. I said, that man doesn't understand. He's fighting Muhammad Ali. He's supposed to just roll over. And he said, so I'm gonna have to knock him over. He said, and because he talked jive, I'm gonna knock him out in 5. So it wasn't like today. We had one TV in the dorm, and each of the dorm, men's dorm. You could not get in there, everybody's standing around. And it was even more exciting because we had met Muhammad Ali. So everybody, we stand around this TV watching. And coming up with the 5th round, nobody could even sit in a seat because it was the 5th round coming up. And about midway through, Ali was doing this, Ali shuffling, dancing. And then about midway through, it's like some demon took hold of him. And he started pounding. Cleveland knocked him out in the 5th round, as he had predicted. He did that a lot, incidentally. And after the fight, the most important thing I had learned occurred. Howard Cosell, Howard Cosell was the biggest sports announcer in the world. I mean, on Monday Night Football, people just waited for the halftime just to hear Howard Cosell describe the games. It was just unbelievable. But and Howard Cosell also called the boxing matches. He was an attorney by training and ended up becoming one of Ali's close friends and helped him when they took his belt from him. But Howard Cosell, after the fight, Cosell goes up and says, champ, I guess you did it again. You knocked him out in 5. And he said, I told you. And then grabbed his, Howard Cosell wore a toupee. He pulled it off his head. And he said, said, now they can see who really is under that hair. And they put it back on, and they went back and forth. And then Cosell said, now, champ, I don't understand. He said, you got all these people over there with you. They're standing all around you right now. And he said, I don't understand. Bundini Brown. He said, what's his role? And Bundini Brown knew nothing about boxing. Nothing. And he probably had never even balled his own fist up in life. But if you go back and you watch any of the old footage of the Ali fights, you'll see a guy at the end of every ring coming into the ring talking to Ali. Now he's not telling him, how to fight or anything, because he doesn't know. What he's doing is saying, man, you're the prettiest champ they ever had. Champ, you're too fast. He can't hit you. You're the best thing they ever made. I mean, that's all during the fight. All he's doing, and all these managers talking to him about the fight. But Bundini Brown is just telling him, man, you're so pretty. And he's the one who said, and champ, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. Those Bundini Brown's words gave it to Ali. And so Cosell said, champ, you don't need all these people in your corner after each round. And Reverend Ali preached a sermon in less than 6 words. He said, Howard, everybody needs somebody in their corner.
I'm supposed to skip that part and go to the thank yous, the most important part. Dr. Lee with the NCC Penn Valley, thank you for hosting, but they're not only a host, they're a partner in this whole program. Dr. Bedell, Dr. Davis for your leadership in this program. Most important people we can thank tonight is all of you. You all answered the call, you've all shown up, and I want to thank you with this poem about courage and fear. Come to the edge, he said. We can't. We're afraid, they responded. Come to the edge, he said. We can't. We will fall, they responded. Come to the edge, he said. And so they came, and he pushed them, and they flew. Thank you all. Karina, I think we're going to have some words. Thank you all.
What a spectacular evening we've had tonight. I just have a few final instructions for you. For those who are willing and interested to take action tonight, we know that there are 2 groups in the room, those who have the time and the power and the passion, who can sign up to become mentors, and there may be others of you who we can just count on to be supporters. We want to talk to both of you. If you do not, feel like you have the time, or perhaps your availability or schedule will not allow you, we ask that you look on your table, and there should be some cards there. And we want you to just, each one, reach one. Pass those cards around. Yep, you got them. Pass those cards around to men in your community, in your families, in your churches, your place of business, because we need their support just like we needed yours tonight. But for those of you who are willing to take action, right here in the lobby, we have iPad sign-up stations ready for you. We opened up 2 special trainings on next Thursday for our African American and Latino men of color, those who are here tonight and those who are able to make it. Next Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we'll have training at the Board of Education, and then we'll have an afternoon session, 3 o'clock to 5 p.m. Both of those are available for you to sign up, and so should that be you tonight, we ask that you make that decision. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Dr. Davis? Yes, so the iPads are right out in the lobby. Dejan will be out there to assist for those of you all who may need it. At this time, I'm going to ask for Reverend Aiken to join me back at the podium to give us our closing invocation. Did you enjoy yourself tonight? Were you blessed tonight?
Have we not been inspired here tonight? Come on, make some noise. In the 17 indisputable laws of teamwork, there's a law called the law of significance. And it simply says that individuals play the game, but teams win the championship. We are a team. And you know what? I'm glad to be on that team. Let me share something else with you. Leroy Aiken, Lexi Aiken, Norvell Daniels, Dan Stakes, Anonymous Quarterman, Leslie Cogdale, Sam Moss, Sarah Major Williams. You all don't know them. I do. They're the men who mentored me and caught me at certain times in my life and saved me from myself. I have to be a part of helping to save another young man from himself. Let's pray. Father, we thank you. Tonight, we have heard insight. We've learned statistics. We felt the need. We've heard the cry of our experience. And we felt the impact of how important it is to do what we do. As we leave this place, send us away empowered and help us put legs on our desire to be about all that you would have us to do. This room is filled with difference makers, champions, generals. We are here and we have heard the clarion call. And not only do we hear it, but tonight we answer it. Thank you for creating such an opportunity. Thank you for giving us such insight. And we leave this place better than we have come. And we only have you to thank. We give your name glory, honor, and praise. And as we leave this place, but never from your presence, be with us until we meet again. In Jesus' name, amen.